There was this woman who was at a Republican town hall meeting, and she was oppositional to them, basically. And these 6 dudes, just random people, not cops, not nothing, I think they're security guards, literally physically dragged her out, like illegal as fuck. And they just got charged. I just want to watch this for a second real fast.
Please get up or be escorted out. And we're just taking care of the rabble.
This guy's a cop, an off-duty cop. He's not allowed to touch her.
Back to the legislators, because really, you didn't come here to listen to me. I just happen to have a nice loud voice and a big microphone, and I can talk over all of you.
Like, if he is off-duty, he effectively is not a police officer. And apparently he did some other stuff previously that got him in a bunch of hot water in the community because he's a moron, obviously. But what he's doing right now is like it's illegal. And you'll see the charges they got hit with. They're pretty serious. They're looking at felonies for doing this. Don't touch people unless you have their fucking permission. You know what Jehovah's Witnesses do when there's somebody in like one of their meetings that they don't want there? Either they call the police, or if they can't wait for the police, they encircle the person and lock arms together with the person in the middle, and they walk out of the Kingdom Hall. Even that is a little questionable because you are forcing somebody to go somewhere against their will. Only the cops have the backing of force. We'll talk more about it in a second. Just keep listening. By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there.
And I could just talk for on and on and on. And look at this little girl is afraid to leave. She spoke up, and now she doesn't want to suffer the consequences. Isn't that the problem that we're struggling with so many of the teens today? Is they want to behave openly and then not struggle with the consequences.
So they call up more security guards, and they're instructing them to drag her out. This is so illegal, it's crazy.
Filibuster and shut this whole program down. Unfortunately, they're being successful. So all of you who came here to hear the legislators,
Says, who the f*** are you? Where's your badge?
Listening. I promise we will get back to you. In the meantime,
This is assault and battery, what they're doing right now.
it's a little aggressive, some of these folks
I
here.
will call the
Here, no, I should be removed. I should be allowed to cry and yell and scream. I should be able to allow to interrupt.
Come on, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Like, did the person on stage just say, oh, I'm not allowed to, like, cry and scream? Is that what he said? No, you're allowed to do whatever the f*** you want. It's called protest. It's called peaceful protest. It's a linchpin of our democracy, has been since day one. And these people are trampling all over it and making fun of people who are literally protesting. I don't even know what she did. But they're coming in here. Look, I'll tell you what her charges, or what their charges were after they did that. Charged with misdemeanor battery, false imprisonment, and violations of security agent duties and uniform requirements. Alex Truitt IV is charged with security agent duties and uniform violations. All 5 of the men are associated with the private security firm Lear Asset Management, which had its license revoked by the city after the town hall. Well, at least we're seeing some consequences for this shit, right? All right, let's jump forward a little bit because there's a lot of yelling, and here's where they drag her out, right here. Wait, hold on, let me step back. Right, because she's yelling at the officer. This dude is just grabbing her. This is battery. Okay, you can't do that shit. And she said to this off-duty police officer, is this your deputy? Because who the f*** is grabbing her right now? Really?
No, don't fucking touch us. Is he a deputy? These aren't deputies. Who the fuck are these men?
Hey!
It's too bad that we have some 150-year-old Social Security facilities.
Literally dragging her out, dude. So if she got injured in all of this, this whole security firm would not only lose their license, but they would be sued out of existence. And these 6 dudes would be giving her a cut of every fucking penny that they made until the day that they die.
Managing money for decades, and
Well, they don't have a badge, of course.
Who the fuck
So
are
if
you?
you cooperate, it'll be 100 times better.
Yeah, that's what they say to rape victims, you fucking piece of shit. You refuse to identify yourself. Who are you?
Public email to come here today, and I applaud them for doing so. Thank you for coming. But the problem is this. They didn't come here to listen. They came here to interrupt.
Wow, dude, absolutely fuck. Anyway, like I said, they've been charged, which is fantastic news. We need a representation of force in society. Some dude is like beating his wife. We need some representation of force with the ability to put a stop to it, no matter what. And we need that person to identify themselves so that we know that they are the representative of force in society, hence the badge and the gun. But what we're seeing right now is we're seeing things like people just like rolling up and throwing people into a car, randomly unmarked car, like unidentified people, grabbing them and throwing them in. And then later we find out like they were federal agents. This is the beginning of the video. He's just walking down the street.
Yeah, kid. What's your name?
My name is Tayshawn Harper.
HR Harper?
Back up.
Tayshawn Harper.
Back up. Back up.
Back up.
Yeah, I hear you. It's probably ice.
It's probably ICE. Probably ICE. Well, we have no idea who it is. They're just randomly, they just grabbed this kid. Anyway, the point is, we have no way of knowing if these people are legitimate legal representations of force in society. We have no way of knowing if these dudes who captured her were. And it turns out they weren't. The problem with what's happening right now with these people like black bagging people effectively not identifying themselves or anything at all is that it's normalizing assault and battery. It's normalizing violence on people. Like, we have no idea. Like, what happens if I'm grabbed out on my street corner? What do? Can I fight back? If I fight back, are they going to fucking kill me? Do they have the right to do that? If I use like lethal force, I don't own a gun, but say I did. If I had a gun, somebody grabs me, I pull the gun out and I shoot the person. Am I now liable because they were a federal agent? Am I going to go to jail over this? This whole ICE, like black bagging people thing is leading to this being normalized, this woman being dragged out. That's what's happening right now. Check this news report out.
The city attorney for Coeur d'Alene confirms charges are filed against 6 people after an incident at a town hall nearly 2 months ago. Now, it happened at Coeur d'Alene High School on
I think February 24th.
February 22nd. In a viral video, security guards for Lear Asset Management are seen forcibly removing Teresa Borenpaul from the auditorium. The security guards were in plain clothes and had no identification.
Because there is no ID. They were not police officers. They're not representatives of force. My God.
Earlier this month, Coeur d'Alene police recommended charges to the city's prosecutor's office. You can see those names on your screen.
Wow, dude. Anyway, that's just wild. Check out this AP article about it. Prosecutors in northern Idaho have filed misdemeanor charges against 6 men in connection with the forcible removal of a woman from a legislative town hall meeting in February. They should have gotten the actual representatives of force in society, the police, if she's doing something illegal. The woman who's dragged out of the meeting in Coeur d'Alene school building by plainclothed private security officers also formally notified Kootenai County officials on Monday of her intent to sue by filing a tort claim notice. Good. She should sue the shit out of these people. She should sue them until they have nothing fucking left. This is absolutely unacceptable in society. We cannot have this shit. The city prosecutor's office said Monday that Paul Truitt, Russell Dunn, we read about their charges, misdemeanor battery, false imprisonment. A 6th man not associated with the security firm, Michael Keller, is charged with misdemeanor battery, prosecutor's office said. Are you fucking kidding me? Why was some random asshole over here doing this? Was he just like, is he one of those people that wants to be a representative of force in society and just couldn't pass the fucking personality test? Is that what this is? So he like jumps in anytime he sees somebody committing, criminal assault and battery so that he can take part too. What the fuck? Court documents detailing the charges have not yet been made public, and the Coeur d'Alene City Prosecutor's Office declined to comment further. Jesus, dude. Dunn declined to comment, and neither Berg nor Paul Truitt immediately responded to voice or email messages left by the Associated Press. Phone numbers could not be found for Jones, Keller, or Alex Truitt. Roughly 450 people attended the legislative town hall hosted by the Kootenai County Republican Central Committee, according to organizers. Videos of the event show the room erupting into cheers and jeering at times. At least one point, Borenfall, a Democratic legislative candidate who has run unsuccessfully in the deeply Republican region, joined the shouting. Holy shit, dude. The video of the event showed Kootenai County Sheriff Bob Norris, who was in plain clothes but wearing his badge on his belt. Super fucking illegal. He's not acting as a representative of force in society, and he's pretending that he is anyway. It's like anybody else, like putting a fake badge on that they created in their fucking basement and pretending that they're the representative of force in society. Approached by Borenfall, he introduced himself and told her to leave or she'd be escorted out. Then the sheriff stepped back and began recording on his cell phone as 3 unidentified men approached and began grabbing Borenfall. The men appeared to refuse Borenfall's requests to identify themselves, and none appeared to be wearing uniforms. Yeah, they weren't, because they weren't force, like they weren't representatives of force. After the incident, Kootenai County Undersheriff Brett Nelson released a statement saying the agency will have a complete and independent investigation of the incident conducted by an outside agency. Okay, great. I will not hold my breath on that one, but that would be fantastic if that were real. Also, like I said, this dude, what was his name? The sheriff, Bob Norris, he has been in other controversies before, to my knowledge. We'll hit his little story here in a second. In a Monday press release, Borenfall, which is the woman who was dragged out, I think, said she has heard descriptions of similar incidents from people who reached out to her after the town hall, reinforcing to me the importance of demanding accountability in my own case. 100%. Absolutely. Accountability. People like this shithead, Robert Norris, don't have enough of it. This guy right here, they don't get enough accountability. In fact, they almost never have accountability. Anyway, just listen to this one. This is a controversy section on his Wikipedia. Traffic stop pepper spray incident. Anyone surprised to see that one here? COVID-19 pandemic, unauthorized removal of books. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Penny Collinson defamation claim. My God, dude, I can't read all this shit. How many controversies are there? Removal of woman from meeting. Yeah, that's the one we just talked about. Okay, let's just read a couple little bits here. In Norris's first month as the Kootenai County Sheriff, a viral video showed him pulling out pepper spray while talking to a man who was recording a traffic stop. Dude cannot escape these videos, right? The video showed Brad Nelson, a citizen of Kootenai County. After Nelson got close enough so Sheriff Lieutenant and Norris could hear his questions, Norris approached Nelson and asked him to step back. Nelson was apprehensive and told Norris, "Shut the fuck up and get back to work." Norris stepped closer, threatening to use his pepper spray, which ended in confrontation. Norris later issued a press release stating the idea of local citizens using their video cameras with the intention of harassing our officers and interfering with their duties, only to later portray us online as if we were in the wrong, contributes to this national disgrace. Well, that's the thing. As a representative of force, you have to use it responsibly. You can't just go around pepper spraying people. You can't just go around beating the shit out of them or carrying them out of, like, theaters or whatever. Here's the next controversy, COVID-19 pandemic. I can guess what this says already. During the COVID-19 pandemic, he released multiple press statements saying that he would not enforce COVID-19 guidelines or mask mandates. Anyone surprised by that one? You know what surprises me the most? The fact that that's all it was. I thought for sure he was going to do some stupid shit and like try to force people to go to the store on a certain day or some shit to try to force them to like not wear masks or some other thing. Unauthorized removal of books. In 2023, Norris claimed that books with explicit sexual content were available to teenagers in local libraries, specifically citing the book's Deal With It, A Whole New Approach to Your Body, Brain, and Life as a gory and identical? Okay, I'm not familiar with any of that. Norris argued that these books generally violated Idaho state law and should be placed in an area for adult library patrons only. Okay, great. We'll go through the process, speak to speak in front of the town hall and get the board of library, whatever the f they are, to hear your arguments and consider it and vote on it or whatever. That's what a democracy does. This guy has never faced accountability a day in his fucking life, seemingly. He thinks he can just like go in places and do whatever he wants, and there are no consequences for his actions, because there haven't been up to now. I hope she sues him into the fucking ground. Norris's unauthorized removal of 2 books and his refusal to return them drew public attention to the county. The Community Library Network, CLN, which operates the Post Falls Library, defended the books following Norris's actions, noting that they are classified as young adult nonfiction. CLN also clarified that minors require parental or legal guardian permission to sign up for a library card. The CLN had and continues to have a process in place for people to request that the library reconsider the materials it makes available to youth. The dude doesn't care about the process. Probably doesn't know what the process is. He cares about violating people's rights, plain and simple. And then we've got the Penny Collinson defamation claim. Oh my God. And then finally, there's the ICE detainee surge. So let's just take a look at the Penny Collinson defamation claim. In July 2024, photographer Penny Collinson, who had worked for Norris's 2020 election opponent during his 2022 primary campaign for county clerk, filed a notice of tort claim against Norris personally, seeking over $500,000 in defamation damages. She alleged that during an April 2024 campaign event, Norris made derogatory sexual remarks about her and her photography business. So he claimed that she was like a hoe bag or something. After the defendants, Norris and Kootenai County failed to respond to the initial tort claim. Well, that's like the very last thing you want to do. You should definitely respond to these claims. Collinson was able to file a lawsuit in October 2024. The lawsuit accuses Norris of slander, defamation, placing her in a false light, and causing emotional distress. Addressing the lawsuit once more in a sheriff's office news release, Norris reaffirmed his stance, describing the claim as politically motivated and promising to contest what he termed a hoax. He sounds like Donald Trump, honestly, like identical. Just a complete fucking shithead. He offered a $10,000 reward to members of the public who could assist with defending himself from the personal lawsuit, issuing the statement on the official sheriff's office letterhead and posting it on the office Facebook's page. That is super fucking illegal, using his position as an authority to gain personal benefit from it or whatever. He just no consequences. None. Zero. No consequences for anything this dude has ever done. And until he faces consequences, this shit's gonna keep happening. The Spokesman Review reported the response of Fred Scheffelmeyer, owner of the Country Barn Bed and Breakfast in Cataldo, who hosted the forum where Norris allegedly made his statements. Scheffelmeyer expressed shock at what Norris said, saying, "Why would you call someone something like that in a public meeting?" Okay, I need to know what he called her now. Here you go. The lawsuit alleges that Norris claimed Penny Collinson, the owner of a local photography company, was in possession of illegal child abuse materials. What the fuck? Okay, here it goes. Now, I'm just going to have to read it as it's written for the sake of news reporting, and I'm going to censor it later. Penny likes to give blowjobs and orgasms and photograph child at the local library. Norris was accused of saying by Collinson, the above described conduct constitutes slander, defamation, publication in a false light, intentional and or negligent infliction of emotional distress, and invasion of privacy, the tort claim said. Holy shit. That is absolutely insane. This guy has never faced consequences a day in his fucking life. That one might actually, be worse than the others we've read about so far, aside from dragging the woman out. That one is really bad. Here's the ICE detainee surge. In January 2025, under Norris's leadership, the Kootenai County Jail saw a sharp rise in out-of-state detainees held for U.S. immigration and customs enforcement, particularly from states where laws limit law enforcement cooperation with federal immigration authorities. Norris attributed the spike to the Trump administration's executive orders on immigration enforcement and the passage of the Lake and Riley Act. Kootenai County receives $112 per day per detainee under a federal contract. These financial incentives raised concerns that the increase in ICE detainees was artificially manufactured. Norris defended his office's cooperation with federal authorities, stating that the focus remains on criminal aliens, quote unquote, and that he views the sheriff's office working with ICE and Border Patrol as a necessity for keeping the community safe. He has offered the department's resources to assist with deportations. So he's a full-blown Nazi. I'm comfortable saying that now. If anybody cares, this is literally exactly what an SS officer would do. You know that in World War II, they were bitching about immigrants. The Jews were the immigrants of the time. It was anti-immigrant sentiment. That's all they talked about, immigrants. They didn't even necessarily talk about how bad the Jews were. They referred to them as immigrants in the exact same way. Though the Jews had been there for like hundreds of years in that region. They said they were foreigners. They were aliens, literally, quote unquote. They called Jews aliens in the area. That is the word used. This situation that we're in right now is identical to Nazi Germany. Identical. In 1933 to 1935. They started concentration camps early on. I believe that they opened them in the early 30s. Certainly by 1933, when Hitler took control, they had some concentration camps. And as time went on over the years, they experimented with euthanizing people, basically. A nice way of saying that they killed them. They started with mobile vans. Basically, they piped the exhaust into the van itself, sealed all the windows and the doors and locked people in, and counted to see how long it would take. The answer is about 20 minutes. Eventually, those vans weren't efficient enough, so they industrialized it. They turned it into, they set up these facilities. They replaced the vans with their exhaust piped in. They replaced them with larger facilities at the camps where people were concentrated in high numbers, concentration camps, and that converted concentration camps to death camps. We're seeing full-blown concentration camps, identical to Nazi Germany, in El Salvador and Guantanamo Bay. The next step is death camp. They may be already. I don't know. We have no idea. Just like in Germany, these camps were built outside the jurisdiction of the German people, if you will. Germany built the camps outside of Germany, basically in Poland. Auschwitz was built in Poland, so that it wasn't easy to access for like an average German citizen or for like an average reporter or whatever. El Salvador's concentration camp is not easy for like regular American journalists to access. They've put it out of our reach intentionally in the exact same way for the exact same reasons. What we're seeing right now is identical to Germany, and this guy right here, Norris, what was his name? Robert Norris, is identical to a Nazi, if anybody cared anymore. Just a monstrously evil human being, and if we're lucky, in 50 years, our history books will record what a monstrously evil human being people like this guy were. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. That's just wild. I hope that she prosecutes to the fullest extent of the law and sues the shit out of him.